Hi, my name is Christina, and my program of study is Bachelor's of Science in Educational Studies. In my Ethics and Advocacy Education course, we have an objective to meet: identify civic, moral, performance, and intellectual virtues, and how they promote the inclusive classroom environment. Have you realized that when you're describing someone, you are telling the virtues individual displays? From the Kenyan-centered character of education, we learn that virtues are positive personal strength that define the behaviors and actions reflecting high moral standards. However, there is no definite list of virtues that can be given because they are relevant to an individual's constitution, developmental stage, and social circumstances. Nevertheless, it is specified that virtues can be divided into four categories: intellectual, moral, civic, and performance virtues. Each of these four categories supports the others mutually for a well-rounded individual life. In this video, I'm going to talk about four of my virtues from each of the four categories: intellectual, moral, civic, and performance virtues. I will discuss how each one of my virtues will help me create an inclusive classroom. I will identify the virtues that I believe are most critical in my role as an educator. I will explain how these virtues aligned with the concept of Imago Dei. Recognizing the inherent worth, dignity, and potential in every student. I will define what character formation means to me. I will provide 3 strategies that I will use to foster character formation in the classroom, describing how I will integrate these strategies naturally in my curriculum and classroom environment. 4 of my virtues are discernment, honesty, determination, and collaboration. Discernment is the intellectual virtue that enables a person to perceive, distinguish, and judge things rightly, especially in complex, ambiguous, or morally weighty situations. It involves seeing what truly matters, recognizing subtle differences, and identifying what is true, good, or appropriate in a given context. Honesty is a moral virtue that disposes a person to speak and act truthfully, to be sincere, fair, and transparent in word and deed. It involves a consistent respect for truth, both in oneself and in one's relationships with others. Determination is the performance virtue that enables a person to stay focused, committed, and persistent in pursuing a goal, especially when facing difficulty, failure, or discouragement. It is the steady strength of will that drives consistent effort until the task is completed or the objective is achieved. Collaborative is a civic virtue that involves working respectfully and effectively with others towards a shared goal or the common good. It requires cooperation, open communication, mutual respect, and a willingness to listen, compromise, and contribute to one's fair share. Discernment, honesty, determination, and collaboration will help me create an inclusive classroom. Discernment helps me to notice subtle differences in students' learning styles, cultural background, or emotional needs. Hence, I can adapt teaching methods or materials so that each student feels seen, understood, and supported. Discernment will help me to perceive what each student truly needs to thrive and act with wisdom and compassion. Honesty helps me create an inclusive classroom by fostering trust, respect, and openness among students and between the teacher learners. My honesty makes the students feel safe to express themselves, admit mistakes, and learn from one another without fear or judgment. I value truth and sincerity over perfection. Also, honesty helps me to treat them fairly, avoiding favoritisms or hidden bias. In addition, when I admit my own mistakes, I show my students that honesty includes humility and growth. This creates a classroom climate of trust and fairness where students feel safe to be truthful, heard, and respected. Determination helps me create an inclusive classroom by by giving me the perseverance and commitment needed to ensure that every student succeeds, not just those who learn easily or fit typically expectations. Inclusion takes patience, effort, and resilience, and determination gives me the strength to keep working toward what is needed even when challenges arise. I stay committed to keep trying, adapting, and believing in the potential of every student. Collaboration helps me creating an inclusive classroom because it allows me to bring together different perspectives, strengths, and ideas to meet the diverse needs of all students. For example, when I collaborate with my colleagues, such as special education teachers, counselors, or paraprofessionals, I can better understand how to support students with different learning needs, languages, and backgrounds. Each professional brings specialized knowledge that helps me plan lessons in classroom structures that include every student. Also, collaboration with families and community members help me understand students' cultures, languages, and life experiences. This builds a more welcoming environment where all students feel seen, respected, and valued. I believe that the most critical virtues in my role as an educator are honesty, compassion, patience, justice, discernment, open mindedness, curiosity, determination, diligence, resilience, collaboration, respect, and service. Together, they create a learning environment where students can thrive academically, morally, and socially. When I integrate the Imago Dei idea with my virtues, I expect potential in each student, not because they have already achieved it, but because their human worth gives room for growth. I structure my classrooms so that every student is seen, heard, and valued. I do not focus only on high achievers or leaving behind those who struggle. I frame mistakes and struggles as part of human growth rather than evidence of lesser worth. This aligns with compassion and determination. I design assessments and feedback that honor the student given a fair chance and encouragement with compassion. I promote a classroom culture where diversity is celebrated and all voices matter because all the students reflect the divine image. Also, I persist in equity and inclusion, not treating them as optional or a side effort because the student's dignity demands it. Character formation is the journey of our life, shaped by our interactions, decisions, and quality of life. Fostering character formation means helping students not only gain knowledge and skills, but also grow in virtues, the habits of mind, heart, and action that lead to a good, meaningful life. The strategies that I will integrate naturally into my curriculum and classroom are model virtue through my own example. I will integrate it by demonstrating honesty, patience, fairness, and compassion in my daily interactions, and also admitting mistakes openly and modeling humility and responsibility. Additionally, speaking respectfully to every student, showing that dignity and kindness are expected norms. Second, creating a classroom culture of respect and responsibility. The environment in my classroom shapes habits. Hence, a respectful, orderly classroom teaches self-discipline, fairness, and empathy. I will establish shared norms that reflect virtues such as honesty, kindness, and respect. I will use restorative practices instead of punitive discipline, helping students reflect on the impact of their actions. Also, I will encourage collaborative group work that develop cooperation, patience, and communication. Third, I will connect character to purpose and the Imago Dei. Character formation is rooted in recognizing the inherent worth and potential in every student. Therefore, I will emphasize that each student has unique gifts meant to serve others. I will encourage students to see learning as a way to contribute to the common good. I will teach virtues like compassion, justice, and perseverance for students' human dignity and potential. When I consistently model virtues, structure lessons that highlight moral insights, and treat every student as a person of inherent worth, my classroom can become a living community of formation, not just of minds, but of hearts and character. I hope this information was helpful. Thank you for listening and have a good day.